Hi there, this is Mitch Tannenbaum. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm going to talk about password managers and multi-factor authentication, but I'm not going to talk about what you think I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about disaster recovery with those. So let's start with password managers because that conversation is easier. You want to make sure, let's assume that you keep your passwords on your computer, on your phone, wherever you keep it. And let's assume that that device, self-destructs it, the hard drive fails, whatever it is, if it's a phone, gets run over by a proverbial truck, you back over it with your car. What's your strategy? How do you get your data back? You have all this data in your password manager. How do you get it back? In the case of the password manager that I use, which is a very, very low tech password manager, and it doesn't have a lot of features, it just has a backup method. You can back up the database to a file. You can back up the data to a comma separated file that you can open in Excel, a lot of different ways, but you just have a file. And at that point, you can take that file, you can copy it to a flash drive. I'd say copy it to more than one flash drive, put it in the bank, and away you go, you're done. That's all you need to do. Other password managers, have very sophisticated cloud kind of backup stuff. And if you have that sophisticated cloud backup stuff, then you want to make sure it's secure, right? So you kind of have to read what they say and understand. And typically the good ones, we generally tell people to look at LastPass. The good ones will take your password that you use to log into the password manager. They will run that through a password derivation cryptographical methodology. They'll generate a crypto key out of that, and they'll re-encrypt your whole database with that key. And then when you want to download it to the new device, they will go off and download it. You'll enter the key. They'll reverse that whole process, and then you'll be able to get to the data. So you want to make sure two things when it comes to password managers. One is that there is a backup method, and the second is that the backup method is secure. So with that, let's move on to multi-factor authentication. Same conversation. There are a number of multi-factor authenticator apps. For example, Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, and Authy, which is not with one of the big brands, it's an independent. I generally recommend Authy, and there's actually a reason for that I didn't understand up until now. Part of it was I didn't want to tie my little red wagon to the big guys, Microsoft and Google, but part of it is that there's some interesting features that I didn't understand with regard to Google. So when it comes to Authy, you can back up the data to the cloud. And if you back up the data to the cloud, you have to create a cloud backup key. And in a case of mine, it's like, a 32 character, crazy thing, which I write down and put in the safe. So that part's all good. And then, if you need to get to it from a different computer, all you do is you install Authy on that new computer, new phone, whatever, and away you go. The other thing about Authy that I had forgotten about, but is the case, is that you can set it up to run on multiple devices, multiple phones. You could, for example, if you wanted to run it on your phone and your spouse's phone, you can do that. It doesn't do that by default. You have to turn that on. That's a security feature. But if you turn it on, you can go off and run it by multiple devices. You can also run it on your computer and on your phone. So in that case, if you lose your device and you are running it on multiple devices, then you just resync it and it's a piece of cake, not a problem. I'm going to show you something here, though, that's kind of interesting that I didn't understand before. And that is, this is what our buddies at Google say. So, the question is, how do I get my authenticator codes back? And Google says, there is no way to do that. There's no way to recover your secret keys. What they say is, and that's a security feature, and fair enough, it is a security feature, but if you can't get into the website, that's not a security feature, that's a pain in the tush. So, sometimes, like, for example, for Google, if you create a new account, they'll give you what they call backup codes. They're long strings of numbers, but most people, I don't think, worry about keeping them. But you can keep them, and you should keep them, and you need to keep them in a secure place. So in this case, I'm going to show you now. In a case, I created a fake Amazon account. I think that was what I did. Yeah, Amazon. That's correct. So this particular account does not have two-factor authentication on yet. Oops, it logged me out. So now I'm gonna have to go look up the password in my password safe because I don't remember what it is. And I'm sufficiently paranoid that my password safe doesn't sync with anything. It just runs on my computer, and I have to go look it up. And then I type in whatever the password is. So that's pretty straightforward. Less convenient, more secure. Take your pick, right? So this will log me in. So now, if I was on the home page, which I'm not here, I'm going to go here to hello and the count page, and everybody does it a little differently, but they're conceptually they work the same way. And then I'm going to go to login and security, and then I'm going to turn on two-step verification. So they give you some words of wisdom here about that, but mostly you just go here and get started. So they give you two choices. The first choice, which is the default because it's the easiest and generates the least tech support calls for Amazon, is to send a text message to your phone. It's for the average bear, it's probably perfectly secure. Obviously, if you lose your phone, you lose your phone number gets hijacked, all kinds of bizarre situations, that's a problem. The other option is to use an Authenticator app. So in the case of an Authenticator app, you get this barcode, if you've ever used one before, and you hold the barcode up to your phone, and it creates a seed key for your one-time password. What they're saying you ought to go do, instead of doing that, is click on can't scan the barcode. Now we've got this ridiculously long numeric and alphabetic set of codes. And what you'll notice is that this is just a bunch of text. And you can copy and paste that. You can print it. A lot of times it's a web page. You just go, file print on the browser. And what they're saying, you ought to go off and save those. That's what Google's answer is, because we're not going to give you a way to back up your data in case your phone breaks, which is just incredibly dumb on Google's part. But this is pretty simple. You just do a copy, and then you go off and open a notepad file or something and do a paste, and then you either print it out or save it or whatever. But most people don't do that because it's easier just to go click on this barcode. Now, if you haven't done that as a problem and you're trying to figure out what to do, typically, if you disable two-factor authentication and then re-enable it, it will give you another chance. It'll grab you either this barcode or can't scan the barcode. It'll give you a chance to get to that again. It may give you a different number, it may give you the same, you don't care, but you want to be able to capture it. So if you're in a situation where you've already set up a zillion accounts, you don't have a way to go get the data back, you can just turn off two-factor authentication and turn it back on, and away you go. So hopefully that was helpful for folks. Certainly it made me do some thinking today. And of course, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks for listening.
Turnkey Cybersecurity and Privacy Solutions offers the complete cybersecurity program for small to medium-sized